Thank you for joining us for our midday devotional. I'm Dr. Bruce McClure, the local minister at the Prince George's Church of Christ. We're located at 7800 Central Avenue in Landover, Maryland. This week, we focused on a very simplistic topic about planning, leaving room for the unexpected. And as I mentioned on Monday, this series started because of some unexpected circumstances that presented themselves for me personally on Monday morning. I had mapped out my day, and around 8:15, 8:30, I received a phone call, and it just kind of turned my day a complete different direction than what I had decided to do. So I decided, let's do a series about planning and how in the process of us making plans, it is also equally as important for us to leave room for the unexpected. So on yesterday, we took a look at Proverbs chapter 21, verse number 5. Pointing up that planning must have some thought. If there's no thought in it, then there's no plan. The plans of the diligent lead surely to plenty, but those of everyone who is hasty surely to poverty. Poverty means after all we've done or whatever we chose not to do, we're right back at square one. We're still lacking, we're still depraved, we're still deficient. And so many times I've observed people who plan down to the last letter still come up short because there is no flexibility in the plan. The plan exclusively focuses on one agenda, and nothing is allowed to allow deviation from that, which is honestly contrary to what we even see with Jesus as he ministered among his apostles. So today, let's talk about plans and how all plans aren't necessarily good plans. Again, taken from the book of Proverbs, chapter 19, beginning at verse number 21. There are many plans. Some translations use the term devices. There are many devices or plans in a man's heart. Nevertheless, the Lord's counsel, that will stand. There's much going on in my mind, has been just moving and churning all day long. My mind is abounding with things. Well, you know what? Maybe this, when I finish this, I'm going to look at that. And there's a strong conviction that there's an urgency about it. These things have grown in my mind. So when the proverb writer says there are many devices in a man's heart, some of these things come up overnight, but some of these plans have been growing in our minds. And now that they are mature, we're saying there's nothing that's going to alter me from this plan. Things that are now captain. The Greek word for many also means the things that are senior or elder in our mind. In other words, this is just what I'm going to do. And I don't care what anybody say. I don't care the critique I receive. This is what I'm going to do. No more, no less. I'm locked in on it, and I'm not going to stop before I get this thing done. And he says there are many plans, many thoughts, many purposes, many inventions cunning things, things that, boy, if the world could just see this, many curious works. The caveat, however, is those plans could either be good or those plans could be bad. And again, what the Solomon, the proverb writer, is saying, there are many plans, there are many things going on. And what we must be careful about is, are those things from God? Or are those just great ideas I have? And if the truth be told, we all have strange plans. We all have weird ideas. But the caution is never to allow those things to take the place of what God has purposed. And that's why in this same verse, Solomon says, nevertheless, it's the Lord's counsel, the Lord's advice, the Lord's purpose, the thing that the Lord advises us in. How often do we give our many plans to the Lord and say, Lord, what do you think about this? Lord, if this plan, this thought, this invention, this curious work of mine is worthy of your approval, open a door for it. But Lord, if this is not with your approval, close the door so tight that I will never be able to open this door. That's why it becomes important for each of us to first conclude, man, this is in my mind, this is a great idea. This is brilliant. But for us to take a step back and say, but Lord, what do you think about this? Because it is the Lord's counsel that is given out. And the Lord's advisement, the Lord's counsel that is given out is not dependent upon whether one accepts or rejects it. The Lord's counsel might be, this is great. The Lord's counsel may be, this is really not too wise. And whether or not you accept it or I accept the Lord's counsel doesn't make the Lord's advice any less the Lord's advice. See, because I say, well, Lord, thank you, but no thank you. That does not neutralize the advisement of the Lord. And because I choose to reject the advice of the Lord, that does not alter the purpose of the Lord. The Lord's purpose, the last phrase in Proverbs 19:21, it will stand. It's going to rise. It's going to become powerful. It's going to raise up no matter how much I try to push it down. The Lord's purpose is going to perform. Now, whether I allow the Lord to perform his purpose in me or not, that's a different story. But the Lord's purpose will be performed. Whether or not it is accomplished through me or not, that's a different story. But it is going to be accomplished. Whether I give validity to this is the will of the Lord or not is really immaterial, because God doesn't need me or anyone else to validate his will. So all plans are not necessarily good plans in the sight of the Lord. They might make sense to me. They may make good sense to you. But God may say, but not to me. He may say, well, but not right now. In the book of Isaiah, chapter 55, verse 11, so shall my word be. That's a powerful phrase. So shall my word be. That's like in the book of Genesis when God said, let there be light. Let it be. But Isaiah says in chapter 55, verse 11, so shall my word exist. It's going to rise. It's raising up. It's going to be accomplished because it's going to go forth out from my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please. Not you please, not what's pleasing to me, but what is pleasing to God. And it shall prosper in the thing that I sent it out to accomplish. God says, my plans, my purpose, my will always preempt people's. And because of that, I may have to step back. I may have to come back to you and say, well, at the time when I was thinking through it, at the time when I was planning it, at the time when this was going through my mind, it sounded good to me. But God evidently decided not now, or God decided not ever. Come back tomorrow and we will continue talking about planning, and we will look at spiritual filters and planning. How do we filter our plans? We understand God's plan will prevail, but how do we filter that? Well, think about some of the shows that are on TV now. America's Got Talent, American Idol, all of those shows. And think of some of the contestants that are in those shows. And they're on those shows, they're participating because they had no critical filters. Somebody should have stepped up and told them, you have no business on this show. You might be good for this, you might be good for that, but somebody, you may have seen some of these shows where people become a laughing stock and they walk off the stage in humiliation. Now they planned to get there, but there was no real filtering to determine, should I be here or not? And some of those people who should have been filtering saying, no, yes, this is your opportunity. Well, opportunity for what? To fulfill their personal plans or to use the gift, the talents, the skills that God had blessed them with. Come back tomorrow and we will talk about spiritual filters. I'll see you back in class again tomorrow. Also, I want to invite you to join us for Bible class tonight. 7 o'clock, our devotional, 7:30, our class will begin. If you have an opportunity, read the book of Philemon before arriving at our 7:30 class. I'll see you either tonight or back in class tomorrow. Don't be late and don't skip class. God bless each of you.